Well, because of the size of the blaster in question, we have to do this a little bit differently. So I'm going to be sitting over here, which is going to be slightly awkward, but I will point the blaster in that direction, and I am not looking forward to this. This is the NERF the Judge, and I'm going to take it apart, because that's what needs to be done. Are they gone? I swear to gosh, man. So, I'm really sorry about having to do this whole re-upload thing, and I'm really even sorry about this segment right here, where I'm just kind of filling the video with dead air to make it look like something's going on, but there actually isn't, because I'm screwing with the person, and I believe it's one person, or maybe a small group of people, that are trying to kill my channel. What they're doing is they're dumping mass amounts of dislikes almost instantly on my videos and killing the search rating. I mean, seriously, the Judge review is sitting at 12K. I have 50,000 subscribers and it's a massive video and nobody's seen it. Because if you take a look at the like-dislike here, it was doing absolutely fine, and then all I did was hit refresh, and all of a sudden, literally within a minute, it got 232 dislikes. And then somebody posted up, hey, why are you getting so many dislikes? And I pinned that comment, and I asked people to put a like on the video, and the likes overtook the dislikes. And then what happened? All of a sudden, bam, more dislikes, another huge amount. And you can see the original Judge Internals video, they didn't fool around, but the funniest part about that is those 600 something dislikes, they happened hours after the video was uploaded, because I uploaded it at 2 o'clock in the morning. It took it hours to get those. And then even the original Judge video, after having more and more views, it's barely getting any dislikes now. It's getting way more likes than dislikes. That's how I feel they're not legitimate, especially when you look at the analytics on the Judge, which became available last night, and you can see that they're all from, like, South America, and I highly doubt South America hates me that much. So, I hate to ask this, I'm really pushing it here, but if you like what I do and you want to see me continue and you want things to go back to the way they were, please hit that like button, but even more, please consider spreading the word to YouTube. Hit them up on social media. Ask them if they can look into this for me. Don't harass them for it, please, but just send them a message saying, hey, look at what's going on. This guy's getting dislike botted. It's hurting his channel. Please do something about this, YouTube. I've contacted my network twice. This is the second time. I'm really, really hoping they do something this time, but their power is limited. It's all up to YouTube. YouTube are the only ones who can fix this, and I would really appreciate your help trying to get this done. I sincerely hope that you enjoy what I do. If you're watching this far, you're listening to this, you probably do. This is going to be one of the only times I ever ask you for anything. Thank you very much. Let's get back to this rambling, horrible person as they try to fight their way through the internals of this monstrous blaster. And yes, I will be shoving something in it. It seems like either somebody screwed up in the factory, or somebody besides me has tried to take this thing apart, because this screw post being stripped is kind of an issue. No, that wasn't it. It was the one that was already stripped. Well, for the first time, I am stumped. There are 2 screws located down in the middle of the entire drum, which I can't even reach with any of my screwdrivers. These are the deepest screw posts I have ever seen in a blaster. And for 2, I don't even know how to get this thing apart. I think this orange piece has to come off first, but obviously it can't because this yellow piece is in front of it. And then there's this plastic piece right here, which is sandwiching the yellow pieces. So I have to try to figure out a way to remove these shields first, so I can remove the orange piece. But they're snapped in. Yeah, this is gonna be a fun little project to break, so I'll let you know what happens. Alright, well, this is definitely the most complicated blaster I've ever tried to take apart. The screw posts don't really even matter right now because I have to get this orange shield off, in order to get this orange plastic off to free the clear plastic. And that's not going to happen because this thing is, again, clipped on. So, I don't know what else to do in this situation, but, I'm gonna kill it. Aha! Aha! It's free! It's finally free. And there we go. That's the internals of the Judge. That was dumb. That was probably the hardest blaster I've ever had to try to take apart. So you can see, there actually isn't that much in here like a lot of people expected. I thought there would be more down here, but what do I know? So, this is obviously just a little trigger flap thing. It's connected with a very long pulling bar, and that just pulls this catch down. This is the rotation mech, the return spring, and that is mastodon-sized gearing there. I have no idea. I guess that's also a rotation thing. Let's start poking around in here. Plunger tube is about Sledgefire size, believe it or not, which is great. It looks pretty beefy. It almost looks like it has even the same Sledgefire spring in it. And those gears, I mean, it is geared, but those gears are just massive. Let's go on. There we go. Does that unhook or anything? Yep, there we go. So that is the whole cylinder. Again, this was already snapped together when I got it, but it will break apart if you so chose, obviously, so they can ship it easier. Let's see if I can pop this out somehow. Does this thing come out? Yeah, there we go. And looks like, yep, that's, well, these two are the only screws. Maybe that one, no. Just these two screws right here. We'll free the internals. Oh. There we go. So that's just what the prime does. It just rotates that. It's just a big lever with a couple of gears on the end of it. So that is a tiny gear, and unfortunately that's the gear that meshes with the whole drivetrain. And that's actually it. So it's this big gear right here. There's a little tiny gear in there, and then there's a track that pulls the whole plunger assembly backwards. So if I were to unscrew this and undo a couple of clips, that, and that, and that. Oh, and it just blew apart on me. So there's the catch. There's the whole release thing. There's another thing back here that also works like a catch. That is the plunger. And that is the plunger tube. Unfortunately, the plunger only seems to be compressing air at the very end, which probably has something to do with the fact why it doesn't get the best velocity, even though it has this giant plunger tube and this $half sized plunger head. Spring seems almost identical to what's in the Sledgefire. It's big, And it's beefy. It really is. At least it's pre-padded. Props to them for that one. And other than that, I mean, plunger tube is glued together just like the ones on the Sledgefire, but you can see that it only compresses air that far. These tapered plunger tubes are the death of us. They really didn't want people to squeeze too much power out of these things. And that's a little depressing. You can even see inside. I don't know if you can see it from there, but you can see the ring where it happens to mesh. There's a lot of little, looks like locking pieces in here, but overall, it's a reasonably simple thing. This is just a lock that prevents you from pulling the trigger when the thing, or priming it, I guess, when it's already been primed, so this thing will slip. Something like that, because it does have that mechanism in it. And then this track right here, which the very comfortable priming grip goes on. But there is a lot of empty room in here. And I don't even know what this thing at the front is. That's just wheels to help it turn, rotate easier. That's the internals of the Judge. There is next to nothing on this side of the shell. Just these frickin' clips, which were impossible to get out. There was no, yeah, they're stupidly strong. If you are going to modify this thing, I highly recommend that you take it apart before you put the shields on, because they are not removable, at least from what I've seen. Now, this is rather interesting. So this is obviously the turret. I could disassemble it. It clips together. I mean, obviously it's going to come to you disassembled in 3 pieces with what looks to be 1 piece already on the blaster itself that is non-removable. But it's got this really weird lever that locks it in place because it's so heavy. So when you prime it, this thing will spring forward and lock into places. Other than that, there are massive gears that are meshed together with this puller right here. So that is interesting. Very, very well, actually, no, that's honestly easier to mesh a 3D printed part with than anything. This entire center piece is a different piece, so if somebody wanted to 3D print a different thing, they totally could to change it into whatever they want, you know, bigger shotgun or something. Not gonna matter too much if you don't get more power out of this tube, which, I mean, it's a massive, it's Sledgefire size, it's pretty freaking big, but it's only compressing air the last third of it, if that, which is a massive problem. And the spring itself is K26 sized and very strong. I mean, this spring is very strong already. However, it most likely could take an upgrade, but this is kind of the drive gear, and I don't know if this is up to stuff. I mean, it feels really durable. It honestly does. It doesn't feel like it's gonna break or anything like that. It looks pretty decent, but I mean, this thing would be fine. The track would be fine. This is, and then this basically connects to that, and that's how it pushes the sled backwards, which primes that back. Not a whole lot, unfortunately. It's not a massive undertaking. It doesn't seem like it pulls back the plunger all the way at all. It just kind of goes back a little bit and then shoots it. So, I mean, the biggest problem is most likely going to be improving the seal on this. I mean, the foam on the end of the plunger tube is very thick. I mean, it's got a couple millimeters of foam on that just to make sure there's a decent seal on the turret. And the dart fit in the turret is pretty bad, but other than that, that's the Judge. That is the hardest disassembly that I've ever had to do. And I honestly don't know how this thing's going to go back together. But this has been Walcom S7. Thank you very much for watching this video. And of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different one. And I thoroughly hope that you have enjoyed this wanton destruction of a blaster that's not even officially out quite yet.